Hey everyone, welcome back to our live Support Ops Hangouts. I'm your host, Chase Clements. Today, Chase Livingston is gone. He got called away to Austin for a last-minute conference down there with Automatic and WordPress. So he's gone. Jeff Vincent's supposed to show up sometime, so hopefully he'll join in just a minute. Until then, you get my lovely face and voice along with Carolyn's lovely face and voice. Carolyn, of course, from Buffer. So how are you, Carolyn?
I'm great. I'm trying to think of what's interesting in my life right now. I'm excited for Christmas. I got nothing.
That'll work if Christmas is what we're going with. We can go with that. Speaking of which, so we can make this into something. Favorite Christmas movie? What is it?
Oh. Okay. Contrary to what the stereotype might lead you to believe, it is not Love Actually. Oh gosh, maybe Home Alone?
Home Alone's a good Christmas movie.
Or is it Home Alone 2? Whichever one happens at Christmas.
Don't they both happen at Christmas?
I don't know.
I don't know. I know 2 does. Just one? I think 1 does. This is how long it's been since I've actually watched this. Mine probably White Christmas. Muppets Christmas Carol. I watched Muppet Christmas Carol at least like 3 dozen times.
Really?
During the Christmas holiday season. I work from home, so it's a lot of times like I'll just put it on in the background and have it like loop throughout the day. I'm weird. It's okay. So with that important topic out of the way, we move into the real topic of this specific episode. We're going to be looking at what role support plays when it comes to customer retention, and that's just a fancy way of saying when a customer cancels. Especially if you've got a SaaS product, a month-to-month kind of product, what happens? How does your team, how does your company handle that specific point in time? There's a lot of other stuff that goes in customer retention too, but that's what we're going to be focused on for this specific episode. When you're looking at a customer leaving, how does the support team play a role in what happens there? What should the team be doing when a customer goes to cancel? If you don't do this kind of moment in time right, you get a really horrible experience. I mean, look at trying to cancel DirecTV, Comcast, Ryanair, any of these big companies. You're going to hear horror stories about customers going to cancel and then just not being able to, or being put through 45 minutes or an hour's worth of a sales pitch to try to get you to stay. So that's what we're talking about for this episode. Like I mentioned, Jeff should be joining in shortly, but we're going to go with myself and Carolyn for a minute here. So, Carolyn, when a customer wants to close out their Buffer account, what process does that look like? If I come to you and say, "Hey, Carolyn, Buffer's great, but I'm moving on. I'm canceling my account," what happens at that moment?
Yeah. So the short answer is that there is a way to do it. Right through the app. So you can click a button without talking to a person and cancel. Kind of in the vein of choosing things to make obvious, choosing things to make easy, and choosing things to make possible. I would probably put canceling under easy. It's not a big red button, obviously, but it's pretty easy to find in the My Account section. So we do like to make it relatively painless. And if you go ahead and follow that process, then after you say, "Yes, please, I really mean it, do it, delete everything," then there is a little questionnaire that is not, it's obviously not like mandatory or anything, that says, what could we have done better? And we just recently changed this. We used to give a whole bunch of categories that people would kind of choose from, like radio button style questions like, I didn't use it enough, or I didn't find the value, or it wasn't for me, or I found a different product or something. But we found that we weren't really it's not really possible to be comprehensive and exhaustive on one of those lists, or mutually exclusive and exhaustive or whatever. So we just changed it to a text box that says, how could we have done better or something. And what we do with that information is we email it to the support team. So, the majority of the time we just respond and say, like, thanks so much for taking the time to fill it out. That's really helpful. And then we take that data and do with it what we will, which is, put it onto the specific Trello card about that issue or whatever. Occasionally, if they are looking for a feature that we do have or something like that, like we think that they would have legitimately would have a better experience by staying, then we will respond to that and say that. But that is pretty rare. For the most part, people who are canceling or have already pushed that button are ready to go out the door. So yeah, that's what that process looks like at Buffer.
Yeah, and Basecamp is kind of a similar process. You go in, you click on the cancel link. So when you're looking at the cancel link, we do have a pause option. If you're doing like a month-to-month kind of SaaS product like us, sometimes it's helpful to pause your account rather than completely canceling it. So we do kind of play up the pause option there a little bit. We're going to hold on to your data for 6 months entirely free, and then on the 7th month, it's just $10 a month to kind of hold on to all that. So it's... Yeah, it's one of those. We tried it. I want to say a couple of months back, and it's been a pretty good success. It allows people to, if they're not always busy. Take for instance, like my wife, who's a photographer. When she uses Basecamp, she uses it mostly for the wedding season when it's really busy, and then the winter months not so busy. So instead of having to cancel your account and lose everything, pause it, come back when you need to. So there's a little bit, there's a pause and cancel button there, but if you do go the cancel option, we confirm it, and then we just say bye. We take them to a page that's, basically thanks for using Basecamp for as long as you have, and there's a short kind of customer survey there, kind of like Buffer does. You get to, I don't remember all of the exact questions. I should have probably listed those questions that we use in my show notes in my prep for this one, but I didn't. But basically, it's why did you cancel? Are there specific features that are missing? Was there something that wasn't clear about? But again, just like Buffer, we've got a text box down there too for kind of a free form thing, and then all that gets aggregated so we can kind of see it from week to week. A good question from Scott: is the process the same when it comes to canceling normal, regular Buffer as opposed to like Buffer for Business? Anything change there?
No, it's the same. They're the same. I'm trying to think. In the Buffer for Business upgrade process, you can cancel. There's a button to cancel and get a refund for the remaining amount. But I think that's only when you've upgraded from a trial. I don't think that option. Basically, if it cancels them immediately, and if they want to get a refund, then they do have to get in touch with us. Unfortunately, that's not automatic yet. But no, it's the same exact process in the actual app.
Yeah, and you bring up a good kind of point to talk about here. So you cancel, you refund. A customer requests a refund for the last month, 2 months, or however long they haven't been using it. A lot of your bigger companies will use that as an opportunity to basically bring you back into the fold, bring you back into a paying customer. So if I cancel and I say, hey, Carolyn, I don't need Buffer anymore. I already paid for this month. Can I get a refund? Is it just, refund, no questions asked, no hassles or frills or anything like that?
Yeah, for the most part. We'll definitely refund any remaining time on the subscription, no questions asked. So, like, if you paid for a year and it's only been 3 months, we'll obviously refund the other 9 without any questions asked. And we'll usually do the whole current time. If you're halfway through the month but you want to cancel, like, obviously you didn't even have a good enough experience in the first half of the month to stay on board. So, like, we're happy to refund that. It's a little tough when people are like, actually, I didn't have that great of an experience the last 3 months. I would love it if you would refund all of that. That might be like a conversation, mostly just to give them the opportunity to make us believe that they mean that's the right thing for us to do. If somebody says I really had a devil of a time and I deserve a refund, then we'll do it.
Yeah, as opposed to somebody that has been using Buffer pretty regularly, an active user, and just wants some free money at the end. Just wants like 3 months, just because.
Yeah, I mean, there'd probably be a pretty easy way to make that happen too. But I usually at least try and have like a conversation about that, because if nothing else, then we learn a lot about, like, if somebody was actively using it and they still feel like they need a refund because it was such a bad experience, then like that's a really great thing for us to know, so that we can hopefully prevent it for other people down the road. But yeah, I mean, it's basically, it's pretty painless. It's no questions asked for the most part.
Yeah, same thing with us. You know, I kind of feel like Buffer and Basecamp at least are pretty much similar in a lot of these aspects when it comes around the cancellation. You know, somebody writes down and cancels and then requests a refund. You know, for us, usually, you know, up to like 3 months, no problems asked. We just kind of do it, especially if they haven't been using Basecamp during that time or using it sparingly. You know, there are some weird ones. For some reason, I don't know if Buffer gets this, but you know, at least once a week I see, well, maybe once every other week or so, I see an email from a customer who's like, hey, I completely forgot about this account and it's been charging my card for 2 years and I want 2 years worth of a refund. And I'm sitting there going, how do you not check your card statement for 2 years and notice this has been coming out every month? So that one's a little different. We handle it just a little differently. But yeah, for the most part, you know, with the cancellation, just go ahead and do the refund if they want. You know, make it as easy as possible. Yeah, I think it comes back to we make it as easy as possible to sign up for Basecamp, so we should make it as easy as possible for people to leave Basecamp too. At the end of the day,
that's a good philosophy.
That said, Jeff Vincent is here, the great and powerful Jeff Vincent
Hi,
from Wistia. How are you?
I'm good. The pains of doing a show live. We had a little change that we pushed right at around 6 o'clock that didn't go so hot. So, well, it went fine, but nobody noticed that there was one thing that was missing. So I had to stick around until that got fixed.
Who does that? Who pushes a change on a Monday at the end of business day? Business hours.
It was actually me.
Oh. So you're the one that did that.
Yeah, so I did it to myself, so I have no one to blame at all, but I guess that made it even more so that I needed to be there until it got fixed.
So before we jump in and pick Jeff's brain on some of this cancellation stuff that we've been talking about, Diana did just ping me and had a good point here. With some of the customer IO customer base, she's been using basically this auto detection to kind of look for accounts that haven't been used either at all or not a lot in the last couple of months, and then sends them an email proactively and says, hey, we notice you haven't been using this account. Do you want us to go ahead and cancel it for us? So that is an awesome idea. Classy idea. I might need to steal a program to figure out how we can do that too. All right, so Jeff, we've been talking about cancellations, kind of that point when a customer decides they don't want to use Wistia or any other product for right now and they want to leave. For Basecamp and Buffer, it's pretty easy for us. It's pretty seamless. It's pretty, you click on the cancel button, you get a survey that's optional to fill out if you want, but other than that, it's kind of, thanks for being with us and sorry to see you go, but go your way. With Wistia, if I have a Wistia account and go in and decide to cancel, what's that process look like from your side?
We have to arm wrestle with me. But no one's
they
lost
always
that yet.
are able to cancel that.
No one's lost that arm wrestle yet. No, it sounds like it's exactly the same as Basecamp and Buffer. We make it pretty straightforward where you need to go to cancel. It's in our documentation how you can cancel an account. Also, if you really needed to search our docs for it, it would show up. We do ask a tiny survey. I'm guessing that's what you were describing. It's like, what's the main, if you had to pick one, what's the main reason? The question we ask is, if you were in charge for a day, what changes would you make? And then you can cancel. And as of right now, we don't have any automated follow-up or anything that hits you up for, hey, you get a discount on Wistia, 50% off if you sign back up or something, which I've been hit with from other services before, which is just kind of silly. But we do follow up. When people leave us good feedback, we do follow up and try to either get more information out of them or just thank them for the feedback that they left. But other than that, we leave people who cancel totally alone.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those weird things. Like, so if this was an actual physical product, right? You go into a restaurant and have a horrible experience and want to leave, then somebody comes running out the door after you, being like, "Oh, let's give you 50% off next time you come back." You're not coming back. It doesn't really matter at that point. Yeah. Now, I guess if it is, for people that don't, for products that don't have a way to pause your account, like Basecamp does. sometimes you have to cancel because your business is going through some hard points and doesn't have enough money for like the next 3-4 months, that kind of thing. That kind of experience you might be able to get away with like a discount offer, but other than that, like just don't do it. It's not classy. It's not classy at all. Definitely not as classy as arm wrestling to get out of your contract with Wistia.
So
That's a
true.
good point. Could I mention what we do in that case?
Yeah, what do you do?
That situation comes up a lot where people don't necessarily want to lose all their data, but they don't want to pay for the upgraded features for whatever reason, for whatever amount of time. And in that case, we just lock those profiles, but we keep the data. So if you, instead of canceling, completely deleting everything, if you just move to a free plan, then you can't access your profiles and you can't post them, you can't see analytics, but it's all there. So if you were to upgrade down the road again because you felt like you needed it or it was the right plan for you after all, or your personal tragedy was over, whatever, there's so many reasons why people just need to stop paying money for a short amount of time but don't deserve to have all their stuff deleted. So that's one thing that we're luckily able to do so that people don't have to necessarily start over when they come back.
Yeah, we used to do the same thing too with Basecamp Classic, the previous version. It had a free plan. If you need to leave for a while, downgrade to the free plan. That'll hold everything until you come back. It just is a simple no-brainer. It works really, really great. Jeff, is there any kind of, with Basecamp and Buffer, there were basically cancellation surveys at the end there. Does Wistia do any kind of, like, hey, why are you leaving kind of thing?
Yeah, so part of the cancellation process is an optional, what was the main reason for leaving, and also we ask a simple question: if you were in charge for a day, what changes would you make?
I love that question.
That is, yeah. So,
brilliant.
That's pretty awesome that you would put me in charge of Wistia for a day.
Well, Chase, that would never happen. But for everyone else out there, we would think about it. It's just, I would say, so we chose, when we put the survey in place, we chose 5 or 6 options. And by and large, there's like only 2 or 3 that are ever used, or people leave it blank. So that has been useful, but it's not overly insightful, right? It's good for like a data oh, okay, 50% of people canceled for like X reason, but it doesn't provide a ton of data. But occasionally, on a one-off basis, a customer's review or their feedback, what changes they would make, can be very insightful, especially in their case. It kind of sets the context for what was going on with them. And just like you guys were mentioning, someone might have a personal emergency or something going on with them. One that we've seen before, and it really sucks, is somebody says like, I love the service, but our business is closing down, or something like that, or my personal business just didn't work out, like really bummed. And in that case, I think it's a great opportunity for a delighter to give them some money back, right? It's like, I'm not sure what you guys would do with $200, right? Being that your business is closing down, but maybe you could throw a pizza party for everybody or something with this money. And I think it's just the right thing to do, because clearly we weren't, whatever value they were getting out of Wistia was not enough. So something like that is helpful for that like feedback question, and occasionally we get other things. I would make this clear, I would make that clear, but by and large it's mostly like individual context, not if you guys made this one change, everything would be clear for everyone.
Yeah, from just a technical kind of side to all this, so we can kind of give people ideas about that. With the Basecamp cancellation survey, the results are sent out once a week via email. It's just you sign up for it if you want to get it, and you get it. That they're kind of just there. So with Wistia, with those cancellation surveys, is it on a website somewhere? Is it just an email? How does that work?
No, it's just whenever we want to pull the data. I guess the cancellation numbers are small enough that we have a pretty good sense, anecdotally, or I guess, or neither qualitative or quantitative. It's by and large we have an idea of what the data looks like, but there isn't. It isn't on a website somewhere, and it isn't sent out. I just still don't filter out all of our cancellation notifications, so I read them all.
Every single one of them. Carolyn, what about with Buffer? Is it just an email sent out, some kind of website that y'all got? How do you go and look at that data?
Yeah, it's whenever we pull the data. Same answer. Yeah. I mean, the individual text box gets emailed to the support team so that they can just like thank them for their time or address whatever question or concern. Or if they say like, I had a terrible experience, that's why I'm leaving, then we might say, can we refund you or whatever, but or just obviously go ahead and do it. But yeah, the aggregate data is just whenever we ask the data team for it.
Yeah, I mean, I really do like the fact that the text boxes are basically automatically sent to the support team because, if somebody has a misconception about your app, they log in and even though there's a feature that's included, maybe they couldn't find it, that gives you a chance to go back and actually do a pretty good job with recovering that account. Being like, hey, look, this feature is right here. We noticed you didn't, I don't know how you'd want to say it nicely and not be like, hey, idiot, how did you miss this?
Yeah, without correcting them, it's like, yeah, it's a tricky dance.
But one thing that we would say as support people, right, is one of the positives of having a support interaction is the customer is heard. And when someone cancels, giving them an opportunity that scales infinitely to be heard, right? Like, this feedback goes to us, and we'd love to hear more about it, and sorry if you had a bad experience, just let us know what changes you would make or what feedback you have for us. They have that one last chance to be heard. And sometimes people are upset, and they say that, and sometimes people are thrilled, they love the service, and they just are sad that they're leaving, which happens. But either way, what I'm hoping the feeling that gets created is, okay, I have closure. Like, I told them, I gave them my feedback, and now I don't have to take to Twitter or take to some other medium where all the context is lost to offer any kind of feedback. And we don't have ratings. We don't have an iOS app that gets ratings in the App Store, but my thinking is I'd rather have people give it to us directly and be able to have a conversation with them rather than force them to take to some other place to vent that frustration if they have any, or to, just maybe be one more ear to hear about the issues that they're having with their business or something like that.
Yeah, that's one of those where if a customer is ever live tweeting their cancellation attempt with you, something is horribly, horribly wrong at that point.
So true.
Just so horribly wrong. I think a couple of months back, when I was originally thinking through the specific episode and the specific topic, about the same time the Comcast fiasco had come out where the guy wanted to cancel his account and it just went horribly, horribly wrong. And the guy, it ended up being, in articles and on Twitter, and what was one frustrating experience became something that everyone could connect to and became this really big PR problem and really this really big kind of evidence that Comcast didn't really understand customers at the end of the day. So yeah, if you don't have an outlet like that for customers and they have to take to App Store reviews or Twitter or Facebook and kind of post there, you're just already at a loss. There's just no way you're going to recover from something like that. So kind of final thing that I want to get your both of your viewpoints on with this one. Should we ever try to stop a customer from canceling? Like, all three of us, we make it pretty painless, pretty easy, and that kind of thing. Is there ever any time where we want to slow that process down and really make sure that a customer wants to cancel and needs to cancel, that kind of thing? We'll start with Jeff on that one.
Darn it. So the one thing that we do, if you're a customer and you go to cancel, you will see the cancel account button, but right next to it is a small text link that says or change to the free plan. And I think the only time that we would want to slow it down is if somebody is in the setting where they just can't afford it, but they still really want to use it or something. It's just always good to remind people that we have a free plan, because who would keep that in their mind all the time? And it's more valuable for us to have them as a free customer or user than it is to have them cancel, go away, we never get their feedback, they never use the service and get any value out of it. So I guess that's one example. I can't really think of other examples where that would happen. There's never a time that I can remember anyone saying in like a conversation with somebody, Now let's slow down here. Let's not jump to. If somebody says, "I want to cancel my account," we're going to say, "Okay, absolutely, we can make that happen. If you don't mind, can you also provide some feedback?" And I'm sure there has been a time or two where during the course of that feedback, someone said, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know you guys had this feature that I was looking for. I'm actually going to stay." But we probably canceled their account first and then reopened it, rather than saying, and now you're going to have to jump through these hoops and do a couple of really tough captchas before we're going to let you cancel, that kind of thing.
Carolyn, what do you think? Is there ever a time, and we're kind of, for Basecamp perspective real quick, we're in kind of a similar boat to Wistia here. So when you go to cancel the account, you do see that pause option, which is essentially, just like the free account option. So it's a little slower, just a little bit. But I can't think of anything off the top of my head where we would be like, whoa, slow down, like Jeff was talking about. So do you think there's any time to be like that?
The only times that I can think of that I've reacted that way is when it's more of a miscommunication. Like every now and then it happens that like someone at the company signs up for the account using like a generic email address at the company, like info at or social at or something. And then someone else writes in and is like, I don't know what this is, cancel this immediately. And in those cases I tend to be like, wait, I spoke to somebody else before, like, can you talk? I just don't want to do anything before, like, that occasionally happens, and that can be a little tricky, especially if person is in a totally different department, or if it's like not so big that I can just be like, oh, talk to Emily. But that's kind of not exactly the same situation as like telling somebody that, oh, no, you don't really want to cancel. I can't think of a legitimate reason. I think Jeff's point about encouraging people to downgrade is an awesome one. Sometimes or just like, you can also unsubscribe from the emails if you're, like there's other things that sometimes people just get frustrated by that, it's good to make sure that they know that there's other options if they're getting value from the account. But I don't think it's, I don't think I would say, well, let's not be rash.
I can just see Carolyn like standing there with a baseball bat being like, are you sure you really want to cancel Buffer? Come on now. Let's think about this.
I totally agree. One thing I did want to add is as you're setting up your cancellation process, you should be thinking, what is the best thing for the customer in this case? So one thing I will say is when you go to cancel, we do tell you if you have videos in the wild that are hosted by Wistia that have had views in the last 7 days and how many views they've had. Because we don't want someone to cancel and then realize that their homepage video was a Wistia video, and now what do? And even though it's fairly easy to reactivate your account and you can do it yourself, you don't have to like wait for a support person or anything like that, there would probably be a number of people who would either, one, not know, like who's going to go check all the pages in their marketing website after they cancel, but two, freak out when they find that out and be madder at us than they were before, which is unfair, but it is what it is. So you do want to think through, for example, we wouldn't do the Diana, the customer I/O workflow of like letting people know they haven't logged in a while, because many people never log in, but they have their website, they have their video set up on their website, and that tells them all, that does all that they need it to do. So you just want to know what it is for your particular service that is valuable that you would lose if you canceled. So you probably already walked through this, but if you cancel your Buffer account, I'm assuming you lose all those sweet analytics that you get for all your, totally awesome, epic tweets that you posted previously. So any service is going to want to tell you what you're going to lose immediately when you press that big red cancel button.
Yeah, that's one of those. It'd be really embarrassing to, get 2 weeks down the road in a meeting and somebody be like, hey, what was the stats in that last tweet? And you're like, we canceled Buffer. We don't know. That's just how it is.
Don't let that happen to you.
Right, that's when Carolyn's just sitting there going, they always come back. They always come back.
Oh, all right. So last thing I want to leave with is actually this really great tweet that I was fortunate in following Hoon Park, and if you don't, you should probably follow him. I'm going to put that in the show notes and everything else. But he had a great tweet that went out a while back, and basically the gist of it. Well, here I'll just read it verbatim since I've got it. When a customer wants to cancel, is the wrong time to try to retain. Your products and your services should be in retention mode 100% of the time. And I think he's absolutely right on that one. I think that is a whole show in itself, which we're saving for next year. We only want to look at cancellations here, but yeah, you should definitely, at the end of all this, if you're trying to bring your customer back at the moment that they're canceling, that's the wrong time to be doing that. Your product should be in retention mode 100% of the time. So that's the big stuff for me. Carolyn, Jeff, anything you want to throw in before we move on?
Nope.
So there we are. So nope. We're going to have this and all of our other show notes up, supportops.ceo. Let us know what you thought about this specific topic. Head over to supportops.ceo/question. That'll get you in touch with all of us because we want to know how you handle this kind of cancellation experience here. So with that brings us to my absolute favorite part of each and every week. It's this week's shout-outs. These are the things that are making us happy, so happy that we want to share them from the rooftops and mountaintops to let you know you should be using this product, watching this thing, doing this, whatever it is that we want to shout out. Let's start with Carolyn this week. Carolyn, what's your shout-out?
Okay. My shout-out this week is, well, I do a lot of traveling, and I'm always looking for the perfect inflatable neck pillow, which takes up very little space and is great on really long planes, and I can tell you I've not found it. So if you know of it, let me know. In the meantime, don't laugh. If you spend as much time on planes as I did, you would not laugh. In the meantime,
how shout-outs are now. Please tell us.
No, I actually have a shout-out.
Oh, okay.
So what I was using this most recent 6-hour plane ride, before you laugh, is I have this LL Bean jacket that's like it collapsible down that you can like pack it into its own little case. And a traveler loves a multitasker. So that's my shout out because it's an awesome jacket and you can use it as a pillow anytime, but especially on a plane.
It's a jacket. No, wait, it's a pillow. No. It's awesome.
It's an inflatable, what is it? A flotation device.
Oh, yeah, I think that takes the cake for my favorite shout-out this year. Oh, all right. So, Carolyn, make sure you send me a link to that specific one so we know exactly what to buy because that's what we all want to know. Because otherwise, we're going to end up with a jacket that we're all like, oh, this was supposed to be awesome, and now it's not.
Well, probably any packable down jacket with a case will work, but I'll send you mine.
No, it's got to be the LL Bean one that you've already sold me on this product.
The one with the Caro Cop seal of approval.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, Jeff, what's your shout out for this week?
I have two, and we're getting to the end of the year, so I figured I'll just do two.
Gotta get them in before the holidays.
Yes, exactly. My first one is a new product. Well, I'm not sure how new it is, but people have probably heard of it. It's called 15.5. I'll give you a little backstory. Every week I was sending an email on Fridays to the members of my team asking them a couple of questions and trying to get my finger on the pulse in terms of what people were struggling with and maybe having some trouble talking to me in person about. And also wanting to know what people were really psyched up about, because that's always a great thing to share whenever I'm talking to other team leads or something like that. The only problem was I sucked at that, and every Friday, like clockwork, I would forget to send the email, and then I would send it out like Friday night or like Saturday morning, and then nobody would get back to me until the following week, and then it kind of defeated the purpose. So my teammate Jordan came back from UserConf raving about the 15.5 crew that he met. I signed up and tried it out, and it has been a pretty good experience. I like not having to send out the email. That part is great. And it's continued to work exactly as the emails did. We've had a couple of interpersonal breakthroughs because people have opened up a little bit more in their emails than I think, or in their reports, I guess, on 15.5 than they normally do in person, and that's really helpful for the coaching we do every week. So that's my first one. My second one is a newsletter called Stratechery by Ben Thompson. He does some really, really good writing on the strategy of, well, most of the ones I've read are like the digital consumer giants like Google and Apple. He talks about Uber in one of his most recent posts, and you can subscribe to his paid content. It's like $100 a year, and he sends you an email every day with some of his thoughts, and then he has a whole community of really smart people that talk about this stuff. And I have found the content to be super, super helpful. So, Stratechery, Ben Thompson, check it out.
Can I add another?
Might as well. We're in the holiday season, so.
Okay. I also want to give a shout out to my coworker Rodolphe, who launched a newsletter about remote work, and you can sign up at remotive.io.
Is his name Rodolphe or Rudolph?
Rodolphe.
Rodolphe, got it.
He's French.
Rodolphe at Remotive.
It's more of that awesome.io.
Yes.
All right, for me, my shout this week is kind of tentative. I've only been playing with it for about 4 or 5 days now. But on Carolyn's recommendation, since Buffer is huge into data tracking and all that, I went out and bought an Up band from Jawbone, and it's pretty awesome. Just little things, you know, keeping track of. Right now it's steps and sleep, and then I've got it tied into an app called MyFitnessPal. There's my two, so Up and MyFitnessPal, which also tracks what you eat every day. It's just kind of giving me a bigger picture of, you know, what I'm like during the day. So pretty great. The integration is really great. It also, you know, if you're on iOS, it also integrates back into the Health app, which is kind of cool. Seems kind of redundant at the moment, but it's kind of cool. So if you're looking for any kind of Fitbit tracker, health tracker, that kind of thing, give the Jawbone Up band a shot. That's what Carolyn uses, right?
It is.
Look at your great red one. I got a black one. It's great.
Yes. My dad wears a Fitbit, and I've also used the Shine. So if you're trying to evaluate any of those three, get in touch with me. Also, Chase, we can be friends.
Oh, do I want to? Yeah, we'll be friends.
You can think about it.
You can be like, oh, look, Chase slept like 6.5 hours last night.
I know. My sleep is always really bad, too. I'm working on it, though.
So that's all of our shout-outs. We've got one more show, just one, before we break for the holidays, and we've got a special guest next week, so you're going to want to make sure to tune in next Monday, 5:30 p.m. Central, 3:30 Pacific. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Show notes are going to go up shortly, supportops.co. You'll have all the shout-outs, all the other links that we've talked about during the course of the show, and then make sure to let us know what you thought about the topic, too. You can hit us up, supportops.co/question. Last thing I'm going to ask, since we are in the holidays and you're in the giving mood, I feel it. I can just feel it through the radio waves that you're in a giving mood. Head over to iTunes and leave us a review just so that Carolyn and Chase and Jeff can know how awesome of a job they're doing with the show. One more for this year before we break for the holidays and come back for Season 3. So we'll see you again next week. Until then, I'm Chase. Have an awesome week.
It's Carol.